Circuit Court is back in session, and you may be seated.
Let me have you all approach one more time real quick. Thanks, folks, for bearing with us. Come up, please.
All right, thank you. Ms. Roberts, let's go back to you. Everyone else, I started with Ms. Roberts on this earlier, and I didn't finish. If you picture the juror in this case, Ms. Roberts, one of the things that will happen is you will have to review evidence, okay?
Well, you need to speak up, sir. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yes, sir. You will have to review evidence. It may be evidence of photographs. It may be witness testimony. It may be something that you can actually see presented in the courtroom, whatever. What I want to zero in on, and you and I started to talk about this earlier, is one particular piece of evidence, crime scene photographs, okay? Remember we started talking about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, would you have any problem viewing photographs in general?
No, sir.
Okay. Now remember I told you, and all of you listened to me, some of the photographs will be graphic in nature because of the nature of the crime charge. In particular, what I'm talking about is some of the photographs will show a dead person, an autopsy photograph. That's part of the evidence. So what I'm doing in this exercise with you all is to find out if any of you are going to have a problem viewing those photographs and remaining composed, remaining neutral, and being able to do your job as a juror. Ms. Roberts, can you view autopsy photographs showing someone that is dead? Would you have any emotion or passion as a result of looking at those? Would you feel any sympathy at all for the person that you're looking at?
I would, but I would be able to keep composure.
Okay. Are you certain about that?
Yes,
let's say hypothetically speaking, you saw a photograph that disturbs you. What would you do?
I'm not a big crier, so I wring my hands a lot, so I might try to tighten my grip on my hands or something, but I would, if I did have to do something, I would keep it very subtle and very, to myself.
Okay. And the reason why I'm a little concerned, Ms. Roberts, is I'm feeding off of your body language right now. And I have a concern, valid or not, that you may have a difficulty with this. Is there any validity to my concern?
No, sir, I'm just antsy because we've been here all day. I'm sorry.
Heard of. Mr. Wanda, talking about crime scene photographs first, I've already described to you in a very general sense what you were saying. If you can picture in your mind a crime scene photograph of that nature, an autopsy, a dead body, showing tests being done, injuries, etc. If that's something you can look at and remain composed, remain neutral, and not be emotionally swayed by what you see.
Yes, I understand it's part of the process, and if I would be selected, that's my obligation to look at this. So yes, I'd be able to.
Mr. Morton, I'd like to ask you about the crime scene photograph. Assuming that you were looking at crime scene photographs showing someone that is dead, someone that may have injuries, perhaps blood, would you be able to view something like that and not be emotionally swayed or bothered by it?
I would be affected by them because I've been in experiences like that before. When I was in college, I worked in a hospital. My responsibilities was caring for deceased persons, preparing them, and then transporting them down to the morgue. I have to recognize, and I do realize what it is.
Mr. Kirby, you, with regard to crime scene photographs, are there something that you can look at, view them for what they are, not be emotionally bothered by them or swayed by them?
I have no issue with the crime scene photographs.
Ms. Lloyd, crime scene photographs, particularly the type I'm concerned about, is an autopsy photograph showing someone that has died that is having an autopsy performed on them. Now, I want to make sure that it's clear. The photographs are not always clean. Sometimes they show an autopsy taking place. Is that something you can look at and remain neutral, remain objective, and not be swayed by your emotion?
Yeah,
Are you confident about that?
very confident.
Why do you say that?
Years ago, my father was friends with the coroner in Lake County. So I've had the occasion to go there with my dad and his friend Tom and to see things.
Okay. So you've been exposed to this before?
As a friend, or going with my father with his friend.
Okay. Understood. Mr. Riviera, you've heard me talking about autopsy photographs, particularly something showing an autopsy taking place, injuries, things of that nature, blood. Is that something you can look at and not be emotionally swayed by what you're seeing? Do you have any doubt? Okay. Now, to ask the question of you a little bit differently, do you think it may be possible that when you look at that photograph, for example, you might become angry or sympathetic as a result?
I don't think so. It's part of the evidence, part of how to look at them.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Denmark, I noticed you make a face when I asked Mr. Riviera that question. What do you think?
No, it wouldn't affect me at all. Just how you put that actually made me think, oh, that's a good way of putting that question. But no, the pictures will not affect me at all.
Okay. You are not concerned at all that it would affect your emotions either in a sympathetic way or make you angry or anything of that nature?
No, sir, not at all.
Mr. Robert, on the autopsy photograph question, is that something you can look at, remain neutral, not become biased. It is something that might make you angry or sympathetic more. Autopsy photographs would not affect you at all?
No.
Is there any possibility that it might make you angry or sympathetic? Ms. Sidema, on autopsy photograph, I've already described to you possibly what you might see. Blood possibly, a dead body, an autopsy being performed. Is that something you can look at and remain neutral and not become upset or sympathetic? Mr. Wicks?
Yes.
Mr. Try, on the autopsy photographs.
I could look at them and still stay objective.